Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Royal number DCSB6. This is a decorative surface bolt in an oxidized satin brass finish, US5. US5 is antique brass is what it is. You would call this 638, I think, if it was a BHMA number. 609 would be antique brass with a solid brass base material. Satin brass black and satin relieved. In a BHMA, yeah, it would be 638. What's the difference? US5 is the old US number. Tells us it's antique brass, just doesn't tell us the base material. 609 would tell us antique brass on brass. 638 would tell us antique brass on steel. The manufacturers use US numbers because I'm pretty sure, it helps them not have to make very public what is the base material. This flush bolt, pardon me, this surface bolt is certainly not made of brass. 638, I'm a door hardware person and I didn't even remember it. So you're not possibly going to know it, but US5, you can kind of find that number used in a lot of places. However, I have to tell you, if you'll permit me to, it's a good faithful finish on US5. Royal has done a great job. That's the item, and here's the bolt. And this video is going to serve as
your iPhone to search the web for what, if you permit me.
They're listening. We are being listened to. Faithful finish. This video will serve as visual evidence of this surface bolt, dimensional evidence. I am very pleased with this finish. The reason I say that is because, let's face it, this is a very inexpensive piece of hardware. Very inexpensive. This is a 6-inch long bolt. You can tell that the mounting pad moves a substantial amount. The piece that's over here, it's only going to travel about 1 inch, which means your projection is going to be that. So from the tip of my tape measure to where that spring is, it's not even 1 inch. It's going to be about 3/4 inch, which is plenty projection to throw a surface bolt. I would believe you'd agree. You're going to get a couple of different strikes. Let's take the dimensions of the bolt first. Overall length of the body, about 5 7/8. It's not unusual that something's a bit shy. About 3/8 width. Thickness of that bolt is about about 3/16. Overall length of the mounting pad is about 1 3/16 inches. Nice little knob that's there. It's going to have an overall projection right at about 3/4 inch. Wow. Now let's move forward to the strikes. There's going to be what's called a rim strike. And a rim strike can be used, is generally used in a pull side application so that the bolt is surface mounted to the face of the door, and then the rim strike is mounted just like you see it here. Okay, so if your door swings in, that's how you'll mount it. However, they also make a angle strike like this, and the way that I've seen these installed is when you chisel on an outswing application, you're going to mount it to the face of the inactive door. This is going to be mortised up flush to the header. You'll mortise this area. You'll mortise this area at this height. You'll prep the back side of the wood for the bolt to go in. And now you're dealing with a push side application. Okay? So now your door is going to swing out this way. Okay? So you can do an in-swing or an outswing is the short version of all that. The finish on the strikes is less impressive when it comes to antique brass. You might call this burnished brass. They're probably going to use this strike in a couple of different colors. And speaking of colors, US 10B oil rub bronze, US 15 satin nickel, US 15A antique nickel, US26 polished chrome, 26D satin chrome, US3 polished brass, US5 antique brass. So they're going to use this same strike in that 10B and the US5. I'm sure of it. Okay. Now let's move on to the rest. Let's take quick dimensions of those strikes. The rim strike. Rim, the term rim I've seen used when they're trying to describe a door, a lock that's surface mounted. I see it applied on the pull side of the door, but you can see what would be called a rim lock mounted on the push side of the door. Yeah, you can. You could do a deadbolt and not a night latch style. But generally you'll see a rim lock mounted on the pull side of an in-swinging door. And I've seen it mentioned in an old catalog that it's mounted, it's called rim because it's mounted to the rim of the door, to the rim of the door, to the outside of the doors is how I've seen it described. Anyway, the rim strike or in-swing strike, you could certainly do it on an outswing as well if you're going to mortise that. Let's say you had a window and it was going to swing out. You could certainly make that work. You could certainly mount that in an outswing. You're only limited by your imagination. Overall length of the rim strike, about 1.25 inches, with an overall height, about 1 inch. The angle strike, inch wide, inch tall. Or well, it'd be wide, I suppose, because you're going to look at it that way. It's got an overall height of about 1/2 inch. Okay. Overall depth, about 7/8 of an inch. You're going to then get screws. You'll get a total of, well, you need only 6 screws, but they're giving us 8. You only need 6. 2 for the strike and 4 for the lock. And they'll be in a complementary finish. There is information down below this video that describes the bolt as well. 6-inch long, 1/2 inch wide, 1/4 inch thick. Screw holes are 7/8 center to center. I didn't give you that, but let's go over it now. 7/8. Okay. Yeah, I'd say we're about 7/8. Conforms to ANSI BHMA 156.16. ANSI or BHMA is a reference to a testing company, a laboratory, let's say, someone who creates standards that if your hardware carries compliance with the standard, then you have a yardstick by which to measure your piece of hardware against others. The rest of the description goes on to tell us that they're individually bagged and you get 2 strikes and screws and packaging requirements, etc. There is a link to a document called Cut Sheet, which you can review there as well. Same sort of information. Does refer to the fact that they have a 4-inch size, a little bit smaller size. If you needed one that was a bit smaller, that would be great. Surface bolts are very common, typical items that people apply in lots of applications. Generally used to hold the inactive door closed of a pair of doors. Wherever you're going to apply a surface bolt is obviously, however it solves your problem is however the problem is solved. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Cal Royal products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Now, I'm partial when it comes to Cal Royal, and it's because they have a good quality product at a good price. You get good value out of the material. They're generally prompt, reliable, and predictable when it comes to acknowledgments of orders, processing orders, getting orders shipped out. They generally are very agreeable in that regard. And it's a reason why after 25 years I continue to send purchase orders to them. They earn the business. They're constantly evolving their footprint of available products, and they do so in such a way that tells me that they are fully invested in the growth of not only their company and their product line, but their customer base. And they do that. They do it. That's all there is to it. Any questions on the Royal DCSB6 6-inch antique brass surface bolt or any other Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.